All right, welcome back, boys and girls. We really hope you enjoyed the first couple of videos we put out yesterday. I'm here back in Mr. Heeg's man cave. Remember, keep hitting that like button. You know, we got a lot of views yesterday, and this is really starting to work. I got a lot of good feedback from many of you, thinking that this is going to be the way that we're going to be able to get in touch with you, educate you during this time. Because as we know, right now it's April 1st, but who knows? It could be a lot longer than that. All right, we're here today. We're looking at...
Before we go into that one comment, the bro, this is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to show that kid some love in the...
I think it was Tyler. I think I did.
Oh, I love it.
I think I did.
So, on to prosperity. When we look here, we're going to talk about how Coolidge's policies wind up increasing prosperity. With Warren G. Harding, we said that he did look like a businessman. His policies were pro-business. Unfortunately for Warren G. Harding, he wound up passing while he was starting to his re-election campaign in California of a heart attack. So Coolidge is going to kind of continue with those pro-business policies, as we're going to see, and we're going to kind of beat the whole business policies to death in here today. So prosperity, just taking this from the objective, right? Successful material terms, flourishing financially.
And the question is, like, what does that mean? Like, for a country to be prosperous, we're looking at a lot of people have jobs, a lot of people have money, food on the table. You know, you're buying things, you're going on vacations, you're spending that money, and life is great.
So, just to go back to the rankings here, you know, Harding, of course, you know, when historians do look back at him, he doesn't really get a great ranking. I mean, he is in the bottom of presidential rankings with some company that you just don't want to be in company with. I mean, I was looking at this just yesterday, and I'm like, can you imagine if we put these guys in Starbucks and told them to have a cup of coffee and talk? What would that be like? I mean, you know, Harding... Oh, Grant's not even on here. But, you know, let's put Grant in the conversation anyway. Oh, he is. Okay, my fault. All right, so if you had Harding and Grant, I mean, what would these guys be talking about? Probably how their friends really hurt their campaign.
Yeah,
how they
absolutely. We shouldn't have trusted our friends and put them in our cabinets.
Andrew Johnson at this point would be like, you know, what am I doing in the North at this point? So, I mean, yeah, really interesting, all right? So, looking at some Warren G. Harding quotes, what we did kind of indicate yesterday was that the way he's often depicted, and even during his campaign trail, he was a little bit of a buffoon. So we just wanted to put a little proof in the pudding here with some of his quotes. So just looking at this one, I'm not fit for this office and never should have had been here.
Could you imagine, like, me standing in front of my class and being like, I'm not fit to be a teacher, students? Like, how would you react to a teacher saying that to you? And he's saying this to a country.
You see, this one, I really need to know how they got this one.
And where he was saying it.
Right.
The context.
Right. Because at the end of the day, you know, if you're sitting down and you're like, I am not cut out for this, okay, that's fine. You're having that moment to yourself. But I know in this day and age, if you were to sit down and go, I don't think I'm cut out for this, somebody would hear you somewhere and do this. But I'm wondering if this was part of a speech, eavesdropping. We will find out.
Yeah.
Here's another one I like. I don't know much about Americanism, but it's a darn good word with which to carry an election. Whoa. And then,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with the darn, we kind of we cleaned it up for
Yeah.
So here's another
version.
one, and this kind of refers to his problems with his friends. I have no trouble with my enemies. I can take care of my enemies in a fight, but my friends, my gosh darn friends, they're the ones who keep me walking the floor at night.
And if we remember who his friends were, the Ohio gang running the Teapot Dome scandal, you know, ruining the Veterans Affairs, stealing money from our Veterans Department, you know, his friends are really who ruined his presidency.
Choose your friends wisely. Hire your employees
Yes.
wisely, too. All right, so now, you know, again, Warren G. Harding, short presidency, didn't go well. So now we get to Calvin Coolidge. Now, he's pretty boring, but he has a cool last name. With Coolidge, let's look at some of his quotes, and we're going to read them off, and then we're going to look at, as we look at these quotes, we're going to look at what do we think the focus of his presidency is going to be.
I would like it if the country could think as little as possible about the government and give their time and attention more undividedly about the conduct of private business of the country. This is like Coolidge, a Republican. You know, the Republican mentality throughout history has been what we consider to be conservative, where we want to focus more on the people and what the people are doing and not what the government's doing. Less government involvement in your life, let the people decide, you know, that free enterprise system.
And I'm seeing their business right there.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking policies are probably going to favor business. Here's another one.
You got it.
And expanding prosperity requires that the largest possible amount be invested in productive enterprise under the direction of the best personal ability. This will not be done if the rewards of such action are largely taken away by taxation.
Again, enterprise meaning business. You know, I'm kind of seeing he doesn't think that we should have taxes on people, that people should have more money in their pocket to be spending that money.
And just to let you know, we're not pulling prosperity out of thin air. We're pulling it out of Coolidge's speech right
Yep.
there, one of his quotes, excuse me. So then we finally get to this. Collecting more taxes than is absolutely necessary is legalized robbery.
Yeah, I'm getting the idea he doesn't like taxes.
Probably not a
You
big
know,
fan.
more money in your pocket. If you have more money in your pocket, what are you probably going to be doing with that money? Probably going to be spending it.
And again, that goes back to what we're saying. When people have money, they're going to spend it. That's going to be even better for the economy. Now, the one big quote, I mean, there's a lot of quotes that go along with Calvin Coolidge and his pro-business policies. The one big quote you need to take away from this with him is the business of America is business. Warren G. Harding started his pro-business policies. Coolidge just continued along with it. Now, with Coolidge, we did mention that, you know, Warren G. Harding, reputation, not that great. Coolidge, when he does get sworn in.
Just go back for a second, Mr.
Yeah,
Heeg,
yeah, yeah, my
because there's
fault.
one thing that I'm thinking about business. You know, when we get out of the Industrial Revolution, the people who are going to love these policies are those robber barons, those captains of industries, those Rockefellers, the Carnegies, the J.P. Morgans. You know, but who are we kind of forgetting? And, you know, what is the driving force behind America's economy up until this point? Our farmers. You know, they've kind of got lost in the 1920s, as we're going to see when we start talking about the causes of the Great Depression. You know, all about business. Hey, let's go business, business, business. And we're kind of starting to forget about our nation's farmers at this point.
And then if we even go back to last year's curriculum, where you're talking Jefferson was more farming, and
Yeah.
Hamilton was more, you know, in industry. Hamilton, you know, you look at, you know, who is correct. You know,
Yeah.
you'd have to lean towards Hamilton. So interesting on how Coolidge gets sworn in as president. Warren G. Harding winds up passing, unfortunately. They go and notify him. Calvin Coolidge, is at his father's house when this happens. His father's a judge, takes out the family Bible, swears him in as president right on the spot. Of course, later on they did a much more formal ceremony, but, you know, getting him into office right away. Now, the thing with Calvin Coolidge is this. Right?
Nickname was Silent Cal.
Silent.
You know, very, very boring man, very, very dry man, very, very bright man, but was very reserved, kept to himself. Certainly not like Mr. Heeg or myself.
So there is this story, I forget the setting, it may have been like a dinner party.
I think it was a dinner party.
So, woman sits next to him, says, "Mr. President, I bet my friends that I can get you to say more than 3 words. What do you say?" His answer, "You lose." Do you think a guy like this gets elected today?
No.
Silent Cal, not
absolutely
really
not.
a personality guy.
You know, with the 21st century media, social media, this guy not electable today.
I mean, even if he had a Twitter account today, you know, his opponent would have this huge stream, and then you'd have.
His response would be like, "Nope."
Nope. Maybe a like. Maybe he would communicate in emojis.
Possibly.
All right. So, we looked at all of his his quotes. Everything seems to be leaning towards business. But we'll take this political cartoon and we'll kind of break it down for you.
Yeah, I love this cartoon because, you know, we got these 4 gentlemen, you know, mouths all agape, all wide open. You know, to me it appears like they're singing. You know, almost like a barbershop quartet would be singing. And this guy sitting down here, normally the person sitting while other people are singing is doing what? Probably playing a piano. You know, playing the tunes. You know, I am so not musical. Not going to sing for you either. But I clearly notice this is not a piano, it is a cash register. So they are clearly in favor. Hey, we've got a friend in Coolidge. This guy's typing away in his cash register, making money.
So, of course, you know, when we also look at now, what does every first-term president want? They want a second term. So people are going to say, all right, well, we're making money. Things are going well.
So we're focusing here just on this area. We've got 1920 here. 1930 here. This is the Roaring 20s. Now, try to ignore what's going on over here. We've got per capita income. Per capita income means, on average, how much is the average American making a year? At the beginning of the 1920s, the average American was making about $1,250 a year. Now you're thinking that's nothing. And yeah, we're thinking that's nothing too. But you have to put it into context. In this time, in the 1920s, that's a pretty good average salary. And we talked yesterday about that slump, that little recession that takes place at the beginning of the decade. And yesterday we went over why that happened. Doughboys coming home, taking away jobs from the factory workers, factories having to change their productions. And there's that little slump. And then Harding, Coolidge come in, boom, we're making money.
So people are happy, prosperity, pro-business. Every first-term president wants a second term. So if we look at this, I mean, do you have any reason not to elect him?
Nope.
They don't know about his personality.
Got money in my pocket, that's all I need.
That's it. So if we even break this one down too, here we have Uncle Sam in the background, all right? He's probably on a ship because I'm looking at this wheel over here, ship of the state.
In the hat, captain's hat.
Oh yeah, you gotta love
Where
it.
are they sailing? They're sailing in a sea of prosperity.
So if we're looking at Uncle Sam representing pretty much the population at large here, he's good enough for me. Why change the pilot? So is he going to get reelected? Well, with a campaign slogan like this, why not?
Yep.
Keep cool with Coolidge. All right.
Yep.
We have anything else we need to talk about?
No,
Chris?
not today. In our next episode, which we'll be filming in a couple of seconds, we're going to be getting into the consumer products of the 1920s and how they are going to revolutionize life in America. See you guys in a couple of seconds.